Welcome to the Wednesday, December 16th, 2020 Wareham Conservation Commission meeting. We have Alyssa, Carol, Ron, Mary, Sandy, Associates Kwame, and Michael online. So please, Alyssa, will you read the first hearing?
Notice of public hearing. Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protection Bylaw. 6. A public hearing will be held on Wednesday, December 16th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. on the notice of intent for Minot Properties LLC, care of Outback Engineering, Inc., 165 East Grove Street, Middleborough, Mass. 02346, to construct a duplex located on Assessor's Map 43, Lot 1, 80 to 82 Minot Avenue, Wareham, Mass.
That one wasn't the first one on our agenda, but it's up to.
Ooh. Since it's red, we'll take it.
Okay, then you're going to have to tell me to make sure I have the other one. Which do you want first?
Well, we normally go on how it's presented on the agenda. So the UMass Cranberry should have been first, but you've read this Minot Properties for 8082, and we'll take them right now.
All right.
All right, hold on and let me get that plan up here.
Now this land has already been cleared, hasn't it, virtually?
Much of it has been, yes.
The two lots, yeah.
Stones on it, a lot of rocks and everything. It's not like it's a cleared lot.
No, but the trees have been cut.
Yeah, they have. There isn't a tree to be seen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is there anybody here for this hearing?
It's not good.
The engineer is on the meeting.
That's good.
Do you want to do both of them together, or you want to keep them separate, David?
Separate, please.
Okay. So this is the 80 to 82, correct?
Yes. Okay. Chris, I gather you're here for this hearing?
Oh, it's actually Greg. That's wrong. Yes,
Greg.
I'm with Outback Engineering. Yes.
So Greg, what's your last name?
Drake.
Thank you. So Mr. Bichette will read to the article, to the hearing. Sorry. I need my cup of tea. You're reading my
Thank you.
Maybe they had shrimp on the barbie for Outback.
Okay, this project site is at 80 to 82 Minot Ave, and this project involves the construction of a duplex in the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland. A 28 by 82 foot duplex building which includes garages on either side of the duplex is proposed, and this would be approximately 75 feet from the edge of the wetland. This is a project that was permitted previously, but the order of conditions ran out, and the applicant is now reapplying to get a valid order of conditions in place for the project. The structures are proposed to tie into town sewer and water. The site slopes from the road to the back of the lot. A good part of the site has already been cleared previously, again, because it was already approved, so they had started some of the site work. But there is a small portion of the site that does need to be further altered in terms of clearing another couple of trees. There would be some regrading at the site as shown in the plan. The limit of work proposed is approximately 45 feet off the wetland line, and silt fence and hay bales would be installed for erosion control at the site. We did get a DEP number for the project, so I would recommend the issuance of the order of conditions with the standard conditions and the added condition that the approved limit of work remain as the limit of work on the site going forward.
Okay, Greg, anything to add?
Well, this is Jim Pavlik.
Oh, Jim.
Yes. Thank you, Dave, for that intro. So I just wasn't clear. You were saying you were looking to see or suggesting that the order conditions be issued based on the existing limits of clearing that are out there now?
No, based on what you've got proposed, but that
Oh,
that
okay.
limit, as approved, remains the final limit of work, so that down the road, people don't want to start clearing beyond that.
Okay, that's fine. Yes, thank you. So just for the commission's benefit, Dave and I did meet out on site yesterday, and we walked around just to clarify where the limits of clearing would be. And so it was pointed out that we'd need to relocate a portion of the silt fence really at the west end of the building, or the left side of the building. But otherwise, yes, as you've all noticed, the lot had been cleared previously, and we're just looking to recommence work and get it done. So I'll open it up to questions if you'd like.
Thank you. I'll ask the board if they have any questions. Elissa?
Yes, I have a question, and that is, we've got no more added sewer in the town, if I'm not mistaken. There was something that we cannot do any more hookups with sewer because we're at our max.
That is true, but this was approved some time ago, so that's not a new hookup. It's been allocated for the flow.
Even though they went out of their time limit.
That is correct. Sewer does not have that type of time limit as the order of conditions did.
All right, so I have one other question, and that is, in other projects like this where we have a limit of clearing and so on and so forth, and that we're saying that there'll be no more expansion of the property over the years, we usually have something put there, be it big, huge stones, something like that, something that's not going to be easily rotted out or anything, just to show that that's the limit of the preparation of the land, that you can go no farther. In other words, so I think we did a few where we had big rocks put so people would know they couldn't go farther. Is this something that we're doing on this project?
I can address that. If that's something the commission would love to see, we could place some boulders along the back limit of work line.
Right. I mean, I think it's important because it so often expands over time. You know, you have kids, you've got a good plaything, and if it's that close to the wetland, then I think we have to be really careful. It's already too close in a lot of ways.
Well, there's certainly plenty of boulders there, so I'm sure they wouldn't mind
Yes.
placing them in that location.
Okay, great. No more questions now.
Thank you. Carol?
No questions.
Ron?
Yeah, when was this project originally approved, Dave?
It was originally approved a little over 3 years ago. So yeah, that would have been back in 2016, I believe.
And what was what was the reason for the lapse in time?
I'll have to have the engineer answer that. I'm not quite sure why they didn't proceed. So maybe you've got some information on that.
Yeah.
Owner changed.
There was, yeah, so full disclosure. So in addition to being the engineer on the project, so initially I was only the engineer on the project, and I later partnered up with a builder, and we purchased the lots. Unfortunately, I was getting divorced. So we had started the work and then had to put things on hold. And my divorce was just finalized within the last couple of months. So
Oof, that was a long one.
it was over 2 years, almost 3. Work through.
All right. No, I mean, I was just curious as to, usually when projects get approved, I've seen them completed in the time. I was just curious if it was, something to do with, the scope of work changes, change of heart or whatnot. I'm just curious. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else. I was just curious about the lapse in time.
Mary?
I remember another property on Minot Ave before we had a problem with runoff from the driveway. Is there any problem with this duplex?
There's been no runoff issues now. The site is pretty well stabilized, sandy soils, so and the silt fence is actually in place, so it's still there, but no erosion issues.
All right, thank you.
The runoff we had was from the school construction, and they put in some catch basins and rain gardens or whatever it is to reduce the amount of runoff from the site. So it was pretty messy. Kwame, any questions?
I'm just trying to get my bearings correct. I mean, I've seen the site, the clearing. Where is the train tracks? This has nothing to do with
They're on the other side of this property. So they run parallel to Minot Ave until you
Okay.
see them crossing
Up there.
Minot Ave. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
you can see them. Are they on this map? I
They're
think
not, the tracks themselves are not on the map, but this back property line is basically the start of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts right-of-way for the railroad.
Yeah.
Okay.
The trains go over the wetlands.
Yes,
Yeah, in fact,
that's what I thought. Yep.
on this plan, the train track is basically right here, or just past where the cursor is.
Okay,
Understood. Thank you.
Yep.
Michael, any questions?
I think I'm good for this one. Thank you.
I have nothing. Is there anybody on the line that'd like to speak for or against this project?
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Can I ask the builder, how big are those decks that you have out back? How big are they?
12 by 12
Well,
approximately.
I mean, would we have any problem with them, making it 12 by 15 or something bigger at this point? Because otherwise, 12 by 12 on a deck it's pretty small.
I don't think we have much to say in that. It's well within, it's
Well,
not with, yeah.
I was sort of thinking that it would benefit them to have that a little bigger now, and then they wouldn't be as apt to want to expand into closer to.
Jim, are these modular construction?
We're still evaluating that, but the decks would be likely stick built on site anyhow. And if the commission is amenable to the idea to allow or put a condition in that the decks shall be no larger than, maybe I can suggest something like 12 by 16 or something like that. That would be helpful. I guess from what I'm hearing, you guys don't want any further expansion, as you said, into the buffer zone. So if this is a one-time shot to allow something, then I would appreciate that. Because it's oftentimes that, as you know, homes
No,
like to
Dave,
have space.
if in fact the decks are put on to be 12 by 16, that makes this plan must be modified.
I'm going to mute.
Okay.
Correct, Dave?
Well, it's something that if the commission is going to condition that it can be whatever size you agree upon, then I would say that the change could be reflected in the as-built when they come to get their certificate of compliance. I wouldn't think we would have to continue the hearing to get a revised plan just for that, if you're conditioning it to be a certain size.
I've seen things like that in the past. That if that works for the commission, that would be agreeable with us.
Okay,
Yes, I was just thinking that, they do look like they're pretty small. 12 by 12 is not huge for a deck. And having people come back and wanting to push into that zone, as opposed to now, you could make them a little bit more rectangular as opposed to square, and keep back of the buffer zone and all.
I appreciate that. So, yes, so if we can make that a condition of approval, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody online like to speak for or against this project? Okay, I'll make a motion to close the hearing. No, can please someone make a motion to close the hearing?
Second,
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Alyssa,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Ron,
yes.
Mary,
Yes,
Sandy. Yes, the hearing is closed. I'll take a motion to approve with standard order of conditions, limit of work that has been defined, the use of rocks to identify the 30-foot no work zone, and allow for decks to expand no bigger than 12 by 16.
Second.
I need a motion. Someone approve that motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second,
Thank you. I now have a second. Approve. Alyssa,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Ron,
yes.
Mary,
yes,
Sandy. Yes, the project is approved. And Jim, before you start anything, see Mr. Pritchett for the documentation.
Certainly. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me, Molly. You're on my paper.
Dave, can I go out of order and we'll continue with the minor part? Or would you rather go back to University of Massachusetts?
I'll let Sandy determine that one.
Go to the next Minot property since we already have Jim on the line.
All right, notice of public hearing pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protection Bylaw, Division 6. A public hearing will be held on Wednesday, December 16th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. on the notice of intent for Minor Properties LLC, care of Outback Engineering, Inc., 165 East Grove Street, Middleborough, Mass. 02346, to construct a duplex located on Assessors Map 43, Lot 2, 90 to 92 Minot Avenue, Wareham, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Who's here to speak for this project and identify yourself?
Again, this is Jim Pavlik from Outback Engineering on behalf of Minot Properties LLC.
Thank you. Ms. Bouchette, your turn.
Okay, so this lot is the next lot over, heading towards Onset on the same side of the road, 90 to 92 Minot Ave. And this project involves the construction of a duplex in the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland. Again, a 28 by 82 foot duplex building, which also has the garages on either side is proposed, and this would be approximately 80 feet from the edge of the wetland. Again, this project had been permitted previously, but the order of conditions ran out. And so this is the same situation where they're just trying to reestablish a valid order of conditions for the project. Again, this project would tie into town sewer and water. There would be some regrading of the site as shown. There would also on this site be a stormwater drainage outlet structure installed on the site at the end of an existing drainage outlet to direct water past the proposed structure. The limit of work proposed is 61 feet off of the wetland. And silt fence and hay bales would be installed again for the erosion control at the site. We do have a DEP file number for this project. So again, I would recommend the issuance of the order of conditions with the standard conditions and the added conditions again about the limit of work remaining, the limit of work on the site going forward, and also on this site that the stormwater structure be monitored, and if any washout or erosion is occurring at the end of that outlet, that would have to be maintained.
If you'd like, I can pick up from that.
Yes, please.
Okay, so again, I appreciate your intro, Dave, and So again, this is a similar situation to Lot 1 or 8082 Minot Ave. And based on what I heard on that prior filing, I would like to suggest we could place a row of boulders along the work limit line to define the work limit in perpetuity essentially, and to add a condition that the decks be allowed up to 12 by 16 feet. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Elissa?
I have a question on the stormwater, monitoring the stormwater. And Dave had said it's going to be, should there be any problems, it has to be maintained anyway. Who is maintaining it? The owners of the duplexes, the town, who's doing it? The builder?
You raise an interesting question, because it's my understanding that currently there's a, you can see a drain manhole where the new pipe is proposed. That's an existing manhole that's collecting runoff from Minot Ave. There's no existing easement on the property. The water just discharges at a head wall that's right up that manhole. And so we're proposing a 20-foot wide drainage easement around that new pipe and the flared end, as you can see. And I think we're going to have to continue to have discussions with DPW and the town to possibly have that easement granted to the town. And if not, then it would be essentially the homeowners associate, or the homeowners of this lot that would have to maintain that. But essentially that's the town's drain pipe that's there.
However, I mean, to maintain it, it's another expense for this town, which the town has the town doesn't have a lot of extra money, it appears.
Right. This is not a new outfall. It's existing.
I understand that, but it has a new development on the property. I don't know if there's anything that can be done with that. Maybe Dave knows, or Sandy. But it just seems to me that, we don't need more outfalls that need to be maintained, by the town. The town, I don't know. So that's my thought on that one.
I'm not sure if Dave or Sandy have any further info on that. But
I don't have any specific information other than there's an existing outfall there. It's not extended the way it's proposed on this plan, but if there's problems with it currently the way it is, the town would have to maintain that because it's a town structure.
However, with development there, is there going to be more of a chance that there'll be a problem?
Well, I guess that's a question that would have to be worked out between the property owner and the municipal maintenance director.
right, that's if I could just further make that point, this is an existing drainage outfall from Minot Ave runoff. It's not caused by the development. It's an existing stormwater outfall for the town. So it's not like we're creating a new one.
However, the people owning these duplexes may not like having that there so much, or, it's something which I think should be considered. That's all.
Yeah. So this drainage is taking the water running down the road, not off the land.
I understand that.
Okay, I'm just clarifying that it exists today. The construction at this site really would not add, unless it's the other lot further up, to the amount of water running down Minot Ave.
Simply people and, who are building there, this is their new house, and, I don't know where the drainage is going. Is it going to be visible, or, it's something to consider, I think. but I don't know what the answer is. That's the problem.
Bike path.
But
So the question has been asked, there is a bike path coming along where the existing sidewalk is, which is not on the side of the street where this construction is.
Okay. Because the road's gonna be affected.
Okay. Jim, have you considered what impact would be for any widening of Minot Ave for the bike path?
Are you saying it's going to, I had heard there was going to be a bike path. I don't know where the town is with the plans if.
There are,
2023, 2024.
we expect them to be worked on in 2023 and 2024. JC Engineering is doing the engineering plan for the bike path. You might want to speak to them as to what impact there might be on your construction.
It's in the tip foot program.
Okay?
All right, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay. Now, Carol, any questions?
No.
Ron,
No.
Mary,
No question.
Kwame,
No questions.
Michael,
I'm sorry about that. No questions.
and I have none. Is there anybody on the line that would like to speak for or against this project? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close the hearing?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Elissa,
yes,
Carol,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Sandy. Yes, the hearing is closed. I'll take a motion to grant this project with a standard order of conditions limiting to the, within the scope of work that's already been defined, the limit of work, I'll try that again, to the limit of work that's been defined, hay bales and silk fences. Boulders will be aligned along the 30-foot no work zone to identify that limit. We will
Not
allow-
along the 30-foot, along the proposed limit of work.
Along limit of work,
60 feet.
which is the 60 feet.
Yes.
And allow for the decks up to expand up to no more than 12 by 16 feet and to construct a stormwater construction, monitor it, and identify problems as they occur with the Department of Maintenance in the town of Wareham. Did I get it right? That's the motion. I need someone to make it.
I
So
think.
moved.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor? Alyssa?
Yeah.
Carol?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes. Thank you. So Jim, same thing. No work until you see with Mr. Bichette, okay?
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
All right, good
Thank
night
you.
Okay.
and happy holidays.
Happy
You
holidays.
too.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Okay.
All right, you ready for the last one? All right. We have a notice of public hearing pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6. A public hearing will be held on Wednesday, December 16th, 2020, at 6:30 p.m. on the notice of intent for University of Massachusetts Cranberry Station, care of Niche Engineering, 2 Center Plaza, Suite 430, Boston, Massachusetts, 02108, to construct in addition to an existing lab building and ADA parking to access the proposed addition located on Assessor's Map 129, Lot S1, 1 State Bog Road, Wareham, Mass.
Thank you. Who's here to speak to this project? Please
Hi, good
identify-
evening. Oh, I'm sorry. Madam Chair. Hi, good evening. My name's Stephen Ventresca with Niche Engineering. Also with me is Brittany Veek from Niche Engineering. And we also have the project manager for UMass Amherst, Carolyn Bullens, and we have the director of the Cranberry Station, Hillary Sandler, on the line as well. So first, I just
Wait.
wanted to, yep,
Stephen, can you wait 1 second? Mr. Bichette
Absolutely.
speaks to
oh,
the project,
absolutely.
and then you can have your turn.
Okay,
Okay, thank you,
thank you.
Dave.
Yeah, so again, the project is at 1 State Bog Road at the Cranberry Experimental Station. And the project involves the construction of an addition to the laboratory building and also associated site work. And this is in the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland. A 42 by 57-foot building is proposed to add on to the existing building. And this would be approximately 65 feet from the wetland, which is a Cranberry Bog Canal ditch to the which is the nearest wetland. Additional handicap parking and walkways are also proposed. Roof runoff from the proposed building would be directed into underground infiltration trenches around the edge of the building under proposed walkways. Also proposed is an underground storage tank to contain lab waste from the site. All of the proposed work would be outside the 50-foot no activity zone to the wetland. Hay bales and silt fence would be installed between the work and the resource area. As of this afternoon, I had not received a DEP file number for this project, so I don't really have any problems with the project and would recommend approval. But since we don't have a DEP file number, I have to recommend a continuance of the hearing till we get that to the next meeting, which is January 6th.
Thank you. Stephen, would you like to add something to that description, please?
I don't need to add anything else. It was very succinct and well done. Thank you, David. But happy to, if you would like, we can go through the project. Brittany can present the project to the commission, understanding that we don't have a DEP number and we need to continue. Or if you just want to ask questions, we're happy to answer questions.
Brittany can do her thing.
Okay, thank you.
She prepared for it.
No, I am. Hi, I'm Brittany Veek from Niche. How do you normally do this? Am I allowed to share my screen? I have a colored plan I can show, or I can go off the plans on your screen as well. That's fine.
No, I can turn this off and let you share. Hold on one second.
Okay. Oh, it says it's disabled by the host.
Okay, you should be good.
Yes. Okay. So just for some context, a Google Maps view, State Bog Road is right here. It's a combination of paved asphalt about up until here, and then it becomes a dirt path. This building here is the existing lab building, and we're proposing an addition onto the back of it here. And then there are cranberry bogs back here. And I think the ditch area that we're closest to is in this area here. So let me go to my plans. This kind of shows you the existing surface cover. We have some, over here we have paved asphalt. This is a vehicular area in the existing condition. We have a dirt path along here, and then a concrete area over here and landscaping. In the proposed condition, we're going to be adding a building addition onto the grass area, and we're going to be adding pedestrian impervious area. The vehicular impervious area will remain as is. We will be redoing it to make it compliant with ADA regulations for access to the building, but we won't be adding any impervious area for the cars. The dirt path dirt road really is proposed to remain, and it will be expanded a little bit in a previously grassed area. The erosion control area is shown here in this like purple color, and it's proposed along the limit of work, which is within that 50-foot buffer. We do anticipate that there will be construction vehicles that use this dirt path to access the area over here, and that area is shown here where we anticipate that they will be within the 50-foot buffer. And this is not on the plans that we submitted, but we would like to propose putting erosion control downstream of that area too, just to make sure that we're not causing any sediment to get into the wetlands. Let's continue on. So for utility improvements, we are proposing a tight tank for lab waste. That tank will be outside of the 100-foot buffer. There is an existing septic field for the building, and that's proposed to remain. No proposed improvements on that. We're not increasing sewer flows from the building, and we did a Title V inspection on that, and it was found to be adequate. So we have a few stormwater improvements that will be used to mitigate stormwater runoff from the site. We have two stone and perforated pipe systems. So here the roof runoff will be directed to a stone trench with a 24-inch perforated pipe here, and stormwater will infiltrate. We found sandy soils on site with a pretty good infiltration rate, and any overflow will come from a roof drain and will spill out at grade. And that is only expected to happen in the 25-year storm and above. And then we have a pipe and stone that will infiltrate stormwater runoff from the grass area back here, and a stone trench to infiltrate runoff from this walkway here. In addition to the roof going to this pipe, we're also going to collect stormwater runoff from this concrete walkway and direct it into that infiltration trench. There's an existing building here that will remain, and the existing building here will also remain. Again, we'll also have a sanitary sewer connection for the building that will go into this existing manhole. And this is just rerouting an existing pipe that goes into the manhole here. We are increasing impervious area on the site by about 4,500 square feet. But again, that is all pedestrian impervious area and building. We are not increasing the vehicular impervious area. Does anyone have any questions?
We'll ask. Alyssa,
No. Nice.
Carol, Ron,
No questions.
Mary,
No question.
Kwame,
No questions.
Michael.
Like David, I thought everything was all well laid out. I got nothing, I got really no questions to add.
I do. Can you, this is going over that area that you're going to have this construction on is sloped, is it not?
Yes, it is.
How much material do you have to dig away in order to put this building on?
I do not have that number. We can figure that out, but I don't know that quantity offhand.
But you're going to have to, what should I say, make it even? Level it out?
Yes, so I'm not sure what exactly the elevations are. I don't have it on this plan, but yes, I think the building will have to go into the slope.
Okay, so I guess my concern is that material has to be removed to level the work area. I just want to make sure they are properly, they're not left on the site?
No, any materials will be disposed of as required.
Okay,
off-site.
Dave, what I'm asking is, I don't want piles of dirt to be hanging around. Is that what?
Yeah, so I think we don't have a contractor on board yet, but what we're imagining is a safe stockpile area in this paved area over here, and any stockpiles would need to have erosion control barriers around them. And again, that's just a temporary measure. Any excess material would eventually be removed from site.
And then I'm sorry, Madam Chair, if I may add, so any materials that we can't reuse on site as part of the addition construction, those will be taken off site and disposed of off site. There will not be any stockpiles remaining on site as part of this construction.
Brittany, can I see the previous plan you had up? I think it did have some elevations on it. See them?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
We're going from about elevation 24 to 34 up here.
Okay. And you'll be leveling it off.
Yes, where the building is. There will still be a slope in this area here. I have a grading plan I can pull up.
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure we were not leaving a lot of material, and it just, whatever you don't use, you will be removing.
Yep.
With correct disposal. Okay. That answers my question. Is there anybody online that has any questions for or against this project? I'm not hearing anything. I'll take a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
A motion to continue, Sandy.
Oh, yeah, we don't have a
Yep.
DEP. I withdraw my motion. I take a motion to continue until January 6th, 2021.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call. Elissa,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Ron,
yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Sandy. Yes, so we're continued on this until January 6th pending the DEP filing. So
Thank-
I don't know if all four of you need to come back for that one, but you're welcome.
We might come
Okay.
back just for the witty banter. We enjoyed listening in. Thank you.
Thank you and be at peace and happy holidays, everybody.
Thanks. Same to you. Happy holidays.
Holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. We then go to continued public hearings. We have Kevin Nickerson. I believe where new plan was sent out late this afternoon. Is there anybody here for that project?
Good evening, Brad Bertola with JC Engineering.
Hi, Brad. Okay, Mr. Bichette, your turn.
All right, let me just get that plan up here so we can all have that. Hold on one second.
Now, this was supposed to come before zoning and they continued it until, I thought, tonight. But I couldn't find any agenda online for a zoning meeting. So I have any idea, Brad, when they're going to continue that?
It was continued to the next hearing, which I believe is in January.
Okay, because I know they were trying to do something on the 16th, which didn't make me very happy because it conflicted with our meeting. But so, okay. So if that's the 6th, January, it would be January 13th. Being the second Wednesday in the month. So we're not going to be able to talk about whether or not they allowed for the expansion of the building. Okay, Mr. Bichette, your turn.
All right, hold on one second here. Okay, so the project site again is at 3 Oak Hill Road. And the project involves the demolition of an existing dwelling and the reconstruction of a new dwelling in the buffer zone to a coastal bank. The existing dwelling is to be removed and a new 32 by 36 foot dwelling proposed, approximately 8 feet from the coastal bank. The proposed deck to be reconstructed is in the same general location as the existing deck and would be right at the coastal bank line. At the last meeting, we had discussed the issue of the proposed dwelling being larger than the existing and expanding the footprint within the 30-foot no activity zone. And I had recommended that the commission not allow the expansion within the 30-foot no activity zone. So I believe Brad has a bit of a revised plan, which I'll have him describe. I do believe this still results in a certain amount of expansion within the 30-foot no activity zone. But I'll let Brad point that out. Also, one of the proposed dry wells is within the 30-foot no activity zone also. An earthen berm was proposed along the west side of the lot to prevent runoff from running onto the neighbor's property. So we did get a DEP file number on this. And I think my recommendation would still remain the same in that if there is any proposed expansion within the 30-foot no activity zone, then I would be recommending against that. But I'll let Brad take over and explain the plan revision that we have to this point.
All right, thanks, Dave. This project was originally proposed 2 weeks ago with a 32 by 36 dwelling. We shrunk it down to 30 feet wide and shortened the length by 4 feet, although the farmer's porch was increased in size to be more usable. That farmer's porch is outside the 30-foot and on the street side of the dwelling. In regards to the width of the house, we're actually just slightly less than the width of the house plus the width of the deck that wraps around the end of the house. The light gray hatch nearest, I guess the dry well that's closest to the water shows the expansion or the existing deck. There's also a concrete pad under that area that gains access to the lower level of the existing house. On that side of the dwelling, there's also a set of steps, a small retaining wall, a small little paver patio, and then some grass area that's up closest to the 30-foot offset. So evaluating pre and post, we took a look at the amount of impervious area existing, and that includes roof and concrete paving, and versus the proposed, which would be roof only. And looking at the amount of impervious in the 30-foot buffer zone, we are decreasing that. The area underneath the existing deck, concrete slab at the moment. You can see it for most of the back water side of the existing deck is concrete pad. We're going to propose pervious crushed stone or pea stone under that area. It will be elevated deck because it's a walkout basement. So I don't anticipate any grass being able to grow under the deck. So we're proposing a pervious surface that'll allow water to infiltrate. And on plan, I state that's about 111 square feet. Compare that to the expansion within the 30-foot, and some of the expansion of the foundation is over area that's currently concrete pad. So there's no change pre and post in regards to runoff or impacts with surface water runoff. Some of it is paver patio, which may or may not be pervious. The paver blocks, they probably have more runoff than what infiltrates between the cracks. And not accounting for that small little paver patio area, which is probably only about 16 square feet. There's about 64 square feet of area that's either lawn or underneath the existing steps that's currently pervious, which will be changing the foundation. So overall, there's less impervious area within the 100-foot. We're also proposing dry wells to capture surface water runoff off of at least a portion of the roof that's headed down gradient and into the abutting property. So we propose these dry wells as well as a small, just earthen vegetated grass berm, just to kind of keep water from directly infiltrating or discharging into the abutting lot. Again, the current grades already pitch in that same direction, and we're not really changing the grades in that area. They're pretty much the same. As for the dry well that's within the 30-foot, it's going to be constructed in a grassed area. It's already disturbed. It's going to be excavated, constructed, backfilled, and then upon completion will be loam and seeded to have the same area. That corner of the property, or that side of the dwelling, is the lowest point on the dwelling. It's a walkout. So trying to capture a gutter runoff from that area would require the pipe to be excavated and placed below grade. And the only real location to put that is within the 30 foot. I can't pipe it upslope, or I don't want to dig 20 foot deep out in front of the house to try to get a pipe that can pitch gravity away from the 30 foot buffer zone. Again, this coastal bank is clearly evident that it's greater than 4 to 1, but it's all grass slope. It's all been utilized, landscaped. It's currently grass. The coastal bank is terraced with two, one's a mortar, brick and mortar, or stone and mortar retaining wall. The other, I believe, is concrete block. So, the other resource area would be the coastal beach area, and we're considerably further away than the top of the current coastal bank based on grading. So I thought that this was a good compromise to show that we are reducing the amount of impervious area. And with the dry wells, we are reducing the amount of runoff over existing conditions. Commission has any questions on the layout, I'd be happy to answer.
Aim. Alyssa?
I don't yet, but I would like to hear from Dave again. As far as his opinion on this project and why.
Yeah, so I think, as I mentioned previously, my viewpoint is that you're seeing a project that's proposing an expansion of a structure within the 30-foot no activity zone. So based on that, my recommendation has to be that it should not be approved, because that's what our bylaw states. So that's my viewpoint on it.
Thank you.
Carol?
No questions.
Ron?
What are we waiting on zoning for?
There is
I can answer
Brad,
that if you want.
Yeah, Brad, can you help? I know the letters, but I don't know what they all stand for.
All right, so with the new zoning change, there is now a requirement to limit the amount of floor space on a property that's undersized, basically called floor area ratio. So this is a lot that's within that lot size that has a requirement that limits the amount of floor area ratio. And what we're proposing is a 2-story house versus a 1-story house. So the area that we're proposing is above and beyond what's allowed, but doesn't necessarily mean that the second floor can't be constructed. It might be just constructed to a smaller size. We continued the zoning board hearing because we felt that this meeting was more important in regards to the footprint of the house. We're trying to get a footprint that's acceptable. And I think that what I presented is a benefit because it is decreasing the amount of impervious area. But we were hoping to get an answer from this commission before we move forward and finalize any numbers with the ZBA. Again, it's not a zoning setback issue or building height. It's just basically mass of structure.
Okay, Dave, so are you opposed to the project just because of the size change, or are you just opposed to the project in general?
No, just because of the size change. I mean, certainly there's an existing home there, and if they want to tear down that and rebuild something else, I think that's certainly permittable. It's just the increase in the size is what my issue is.
So what is the existing dwelling currently, length and width of property?
So this is the dwelling right here, this grade box that you see, that's. the
Yeah, okay,
existing
that's the
dwelling.
existing. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And and this is like an existing stairway on the outside and a concrete walk. And this purple box is the new proposed house.
okay, so we're talking about one corner of the property is where the expansion is essentially lying.
Yeah, see where
Right.
Dave, circle the area that's within the 30-foot no work zone. Now, Brad, last time it was 80 square feet within the 30-foot. What is this reduced to?
At the moment, it's about 16 feet from the 30-foot buffer zone back towards the concrete pad. And
So
it's currently a 26-foot wide house, left to right, and it's going to 30 feet. So it's a 4-foot expansion. So what I'm
64 feet.
considering as pervious area, there's about 64 square feet, 16 by 64. Again, some of that area of the house expansion is over current concrete slab. So I'm looking at pre and post surface water runoff from impervious areas. So whether there's a structure there or a concrete pad, it's the same amount of runoff. It is expanding in that area where there's currently a deck. I was more concentrating on the impacts over currently pervious areas on the property within the 30-foot.
So if I understand correctly, I don't think that the issue is about water runoff. I think it's strictly about the way the bylaw is written on what we can and can't do within limits of coastal banks and no work zones and whatnot. Is that what I gathered, Dave?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. No other questions.
Mary,
No question.
Kwame,
No questions at this time.
Michael.
Yeah, I just got one here. Refresh my memory. Was this the project where there was some neighbors next door that were just a little concerned about the project, maybe getting a little too close to the property or not? Or am I thinking of a different project?
Well, there was some issue with potentially having runoff onto the neighbor's property, but I think, they've built this or proposing this earthen berm to kind of limit that from being an issue. So Brad, I don't know if that's been something the neighbor is satisfied now with. We haven't heard from the neighbor. Maybe they're online, would speak to that once the hearing is opened up to the public.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I did speak with the neighbor, and he was pleased with the proposed change to the plan.
And Jack, was that, sorry, Brad, was that Jack Nolan?
Yes.
Thank you. Anything else, Michael?
That's it, thank you.
I have a couple questions. The garage is going to be taken down. What's going to be in its place? The plans don't seem to say.
It'll probably just be stabilized with either Loma seed or maybe just crushed stone, like the existing driveway. Something pervious.
So there is if I take a look at your plan from November 2nd compared to December 15th, and I look at the side that has near the dry well, the size of the steps have changed from the old plan and the new plan.
You want me to put the old plan on the screen?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Are you
Okay,
talking
hold on.
the porch?
Well, no, see where it says that inside the purple, it says existing slab?
Yep, right there.
Yeah, and then you have steps going down, existing pavers.
Yeah,
That section, if you can get the previous plan up, because what I'm seeing now differs from what we previously had.
well, I wasn't
Sorry,
very,
excuse me. Alan, your phone. Sorry.
All right, let me just get that other plan. Hold on one second.
I'm not answering it.
Not Sandy's secretary service tonight?
No. He was supposed to turn it off or take it with him.
I have some pictures of that area if you allow me to screen share, either after you show the old plan.
Yeah, I just was surprised to find the plans differ in that area. Everything
just-
else,
I never showed the
pavers.
existing pavers, just wasn't, didn't cross my mind that this would be an issue. So I wanted to make sure
Okay.
I showed what was really in this area where I'm expanding, where most of it is previously altered. There is some grass and maybe one little shrub that's on the side.
See what I mean? It's so much shorter. So that just showed the slab underneath the steps. It didn't show. And so you're saying that because that area that Dave is circling now is now pavers, you consider that altered. So we have reduced to a little square within the 30-foot no work zone that isn't covered by concrete or pavers already.
I did, but in my calculations, I considered that as impervious. I mean, pervious.
Okay.
I know it's most likely kind of like a concrete slab and most of that water runs off, but I was doing a pre and post between existing impervious areas versus proposed. So in that area, I considered it as pervious. So to just not overinflate my numbers that say that right now there's about a decrease of roughly 50 square feet of impervious area.
Okay, so Dave, can you put back the current plan? And while he's doing it, Brad, last time there was 80 square feet within the 30-foot no work zone. What is it now when you include the pavers? It must have reduced that number.
I think he said 64.
There's 64 square feet of new impervious area. New impervious area. There is, yeah, that's the final number.
So I now have 64 square feet within the 30 no work zone?
Yeah, an increase of 64 square feet, but we're decreasing the impervious area by removing concrete pad underneath the existing deck. I have pictures that I could show if you want.
So I now have 16 square feet within the 30-foot no work zone.
No, 64.
No, 64, and it can't be. That little corner can't be 64 square feet.
Yeah, it is.
It's 16 by, what'd you say, 4 feet by 16 feet, right?
Yes,
Yeah, that's 64 feet.
Okay.
and that's within the 30-foot buffer. Again,
Yep.
there is an expansion outside the 30-foot, and I
That
did not
I
include that.
That's not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the land that was within the 30-foot no work zone.
Yep.
Now, if we don't approve this project as presented, what do you think the homeowners will do in order to not impact the 30-foot no work zone? I mean, you reduce the size of the house from 3236 to 3230.
I guess the only other option is to rebuild on the same footprint. That's 26 feet wide. I don't see any detriment with it being 30 feet wide. I think as a commission member, I think you have to evaluate the actual resource areas here. And again, this was a pre-existing site, fully developed. It's no native vegetation on these on this coastal bank. This is not a coastal bank that provides sediment to the beach. It's all protected with concrete retaining walls. So the only purpose of this coastal bank is stormwater prevention, or storm flood protection. So we're not proposing anything on the bank that's going to disturb or increase runoff that would make it more susceptible to damage. We're actually decreasing the amount of runoff headed in that direction by reducing the amount of impervious area and including dry wells. So in an overall benefit, we're helping the coastal bank, which is currently grassed lawn. It's not a section of woods that's native and would provide a benefit above and beyond what a grassed slope would be. I just think that there's needs to be some leeway on certain resource areas and on sites that are basically previously altered.
I think in terms of an expansion, what the commission needs to look at is the resource area, but also how much you're going to potentially allow in one instance, and then somebody else wants to do something else. It's a little bit more than that. And the argument, can always be made that we're not impacting it. But the point is that any larger structure within a coastal bank or within a certain proximity can have an impact in terms of how a storm surge reacts to that particular location. So that's part of the reason for having the bylaw. And so I'm just pointing that out. I understand what Brad's saying, but at the same time, I don't necessarily agree that it's not going to have any impact on the resource area.
Well, if the commission has concerns on the width, then that would be something that would have to be changed. I just don't know what the commission members have to say about that before closing the hearing.
I mean, I think I go back to, to kind of reiterate what Dave is saying is, the bylaw is the bylaw, and if we make exception for one project, what's the next exception going to be? It might be another foot, or another 2 feet. So I think that has to be considered too when we make decisions on projects that might potentially go against the bylaws that we have in place. So I mean, that would be my concern: is where is enough down the road, not necessarily this project, but the next project that might become before us.
I think that consistency issue is major, because it's so hard to say no to people anyway, that you have to follow it or else it's gone, just as Ron said.
Well, if that's the case, then it appears that, that I would be allowed to rebuild in the same width footprint, 26 feet wide, and rebuild the deck on the same footprint. Again, that would affect the design of the project beyond the 30 foot. There's not obviously much room to expand due to the setback to the street. So if that's what the commission wants, then we'll probably have to request a continuance to go back and look at the width and revise the footprint so it meets your requirements.
Did we lose Sandy?
I don't know. Where's Sandy?
Hold on 1 second here. Oh yeah, she's trying to get back in. Hold on.
We lost the captain of the ship.
Yeah, she's coming back.
Can't do it right now. Do you have volume turned on?
Nope.
Hi, Sandy. I can hear you now.
Yeah,
Are you running away from us?
yeah.
No, if you let her play with any kind of buttons, you'll lose.
Yeah. So you missed everything we said then, huh?
Yes, I did.
Battle thing.
So
Try again.
did we ask for anybody? If anybody in the audience wanted to speak for or against the project, do we ask that question?
No, because we were waiting for you.
I'm waiting for me. Is there anybody here?
Good point.
Did you want me to, did you want me to reiterate my point so Sandy can hear what I said?
Yep.
Okay, so the question was, if we were to allow this change to happen based on the current bylaw that we have, where, the next project that comes online might be a little bit bigger. And then if we allow that project in, so where would we end up stopping the allowing before we're basically just throwing the bylaw that we have in place out the window? So my concern is just sticking with consistency. If we allow it for one, we necessarily couldn't not allow it for the next person. So, where do we make that stop? Is my biggest concern.
Okay. Now, Dave, there is some leeway in this bylaw, isn't there?
There is in terms of utilizing existing area that's within the 30 foot that's already impervious. So to that extent there is, but as far as new expansion into areas that are not impervious, then there really isn't, unless it fits into one of the categories that we have, meaning an agricultural project and the other ones that exist in terms of potential exemptions in the bylaw. But this project does not fit into any of those.
So Sandy, Brad sort of suggested maybe going back to the footprint and building up the deck better and things like that with a new design, which would keep us within our bylaws.
And in expanding the house closer to the road. I mean, still as long as he's within the zoning setback. Because I'm
Yeah,
sure
so-
the
Yeah,
homeowners would like to have some additional floor space.
Yeah, so again, there's the potential of expansion outside the 30 foot. Not much more than what's originally proposed on this plan, but the big question is, a big change that appears maybe necessary is the reduction in width of the proposed dwelling down to match the current footprint. So currently it's 26 feet wide, proposed is 30. So I think legally we have the right to rebuild on the same footprint, even though it's within the 30 foot. But doing so and changing that will potentially change what's wanted on the street side of the dwelling. So as opposed to making a condition to reduce it, rather have a continuance to allow us to go back and look at another design.
So the front of the dwelling, how far is that from the setback to the street?
Current setback is 23 feet to the existing front landing that gains access to the front door. And we're proposing to be about 22 feet with the farmer's porch.
This line right here is the zoning setback.
Okay, and how far from the closest point on the house, how far back is that?
Well, to the farmer's porch, it's only this distance. To the actual house,
That's another.
I don't know, Brad would have to come up with a number because that's not to scale what I'm looking at, but whatever that distance is,
It's probably about 27 feet because the porch is about 6 feet and the porch is currently about 22 feet.
So is there a potential to be able to go from 32 feet to maybe 34 or 35 to make up the difference on the 26?
There is, but I'd rather prepare that plan on our side and present it. So because that work is within 100 feet and would still need to be approved by this.
Yes.
committee.
No, I understand that, but to handle one issue of obviously the 30-foot no work zone, obviously there's another issue, but that's something that is a little more that we could potentially look at.
So is there anybody here that wants to speak for or against this project? If not, I make a recommendation that we continue until January 6th.
Hello? Second.
Yeah,
Hold on, you got some people that want to speak.
Can you hear me?
Jack, please identify yourself.
I'm Jack. Jack Nolan here with Susan Nolan beside me. I just want to confirm what Brad said earlier. I did review the engineering. We're downhill from the proposed site. And now our concern was whether they were going to do anything that would increase the amount of water that comes onto our property from their property. And I did review it with Brad, and it is and as Brad said, I thought what they were doing, we were going to get less runoff, and I was happy with that. And we had no other problems about the proposed slightly larger building. We had no problems with it going to 2 floors. So we had essentially no problems other than what they took already with the proposed engineering. They took care of the only problem and the only concern we had.
Thank you. Anybody else? What does the commission want to do?
I make a motion to continue the hearing
Until January 6th?
until the next meeting, yes, January 6th.
Second.
Thank you. Brad, would that be sufficient time to give us a new plan?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion to continue until 1/6. Alyssa,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Sandy, yes. Okay, we're continued.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next two, Borrego. I understand they've asked for a continuation. Is this also until the 6th?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take a motion to continue both hearings until the 6th, but before I do that, is there anybody who wants to speak to that project before we continue? Hearing none?
Motion to continue both solar projects to 1/6.
Second.
And I have a motion and a second. All in favor. Elissa,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Sandy. Yes, it's continued. The next thing up is the certification of compliance, Dave.
Yes, this was a project that involved the construction of an addition at a house. This is a very old order that just never got cleaned up from years ago. The project is finished, so I would recommend the issuance of the certificate of compliance for this project, which is at 22 Fairfield Drive.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor. Elissa,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Sandy. It's continued. Now, we have some documents to sign. Town Hall is closed tomorrow because of the weather, and Town Hall is closed unless we have an appointment from that point from, say, for next Monday. Dave, how do you want to handle signatures?
Well, I think we can just basically do it the way we've been doing it. It's just that when somebody comes, they'll just have to give me a call, or I'll know that people are going to come at a given time, and I'll just go down to the back door there and meet people to sign documents.
Now, everybody knows what he means by the back door. It's by the dumpster.
Is that where you go into the cafeteria, the downstairs meeting
Yeah.
area?
Yeah, where the electric cars are parked.
Okay.
Or the dumpsters, yeah.
Now that would be
Okay.
on Monday?
Monday.
Yes, Monday. I would say between 9:30 and 10:30. Does that work for people, or would you prefer a different time? If that time doesn't work and you want to come at another time, I can meet basically any time. I just need to know, and therefore I can meet somebody outside.
Can we email you, Dave? Or is that not so good?
No, you can email me too if there's a certain time that you think you're going to come by. And then, like I said, we'd have to, if you said I'll be there at 10, then I'll meet you in the back at 10. So whatever way you want to do it, it's fine.
Okay.
I would say that I'll have everything ready to be signed at 9:30. So if people feel like they want to come by then, that's great. Again, if you prefer a different time, you just have to let me know and we'll get it straight.
Thank
And
you.
that's Monday, because the
Yes,
building,
Monday.
snow day tomorrow.
Yes,
And the building is now closed from now on?
that's right. That's
Okay.
right.
It's closed to the public unless you have an appointment scheduled. You
Okay.
call somebody and they meet you at the door and bring you in.
Okay.
So the work is being done by appointment only. So Jim isn't feeling well, so he's not on the line tonight, but I do want to publicly thank him for his time helping us get through our projects for the last, almost 2 years now, isn't he? 2.5 years?
Yes.
Yeah. So, is there anything else?
I don't believe so at the moment on my end.
So unless somebody has somebody else, please say the magic words.
Motion to close the hearing. Motion to close the meeting.
Thank you.
Second.
Second.
And second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank
Sandy.
you. Be safe, be happy.
And don't drink too much on meetings.
Water. You can drink lots of water.
The water should be fine, right?
Yep.
Yeah, for those of you who I may not see before the holidays, I hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas and New Year's and all that. So thank you all for all the great work you guys do as volunteers. It's
Thank you.
makes everything work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it
Thank you,
all.
David.